it's this ongoing thing about like men not being respected enough, and Democrats are putting money into learning how to appeal to men. Uh, and it's just this thing is like, and I'm not saying this like I'm different than other boys. Like that's not what I'm saying. I definitely have, problematic things that are baked into the system and how I was raised. But at the same time, it feels like such horseshit. Like it's such like it honestly to me feels like, like a guy or a dad was watching like the Barbie movie and a character goes, "Uh-oh, white men." And he was like, "Ah!" Like, and decided like that was it for him. Like it feels like,
Barbie movie didn't even do white men. Like I don't even think it mentioned.
It had like one man. It had like when the daughter replies to the dad at one point that like something about like learning Spanish is racist or like you're like mansplaining something. But regardless, like I feel like it's like a sitcom joke or like it's, something you see in like advice columns or someone's like, "Ugh, I hate men." And
it's like a Cosmo, like they're doing a Cosmo, like 20 ways to relate to your red-pilled hubby, like 20 ways to make him think you're trad calf, but you're, actually make decisions in your household. You budget everything. Like 20 ways to fake like you have less power than you do. Like that feels what the Democratic Party is doing right now.
It really is. And it's fucking ridiculous just because like one, just even going off of what you were talking about before I jumped into the room, I'm doing fine. Even my worst day is better than the best day of a lot of people right now in other parts of the world, especially Gaza. And, it's this sense of like, well, the Democrats need to like come around and when they say find their Joe Rogan, they don't mean find an influencer who's good at convincing people of things. They really just want to get like, they think that somehow they can flip a switch and get like dude bros to suddenly, vote for left-wing policies without explaining them. Like just like a guy who's appealing. And it's super fucking frustrating because it feels like this giant cultural wedge issue that just doesn't exist outside of, it feels like more men are being told that people are saying that they're bad by other men than they are being told that they're bad. Yeah. Like I feel like I can hear more podcasters say everyone hates men now than I actually hear people say I hate all men now.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's all imagined. I mean, we're going to talk about the backlash to the George Floyd, movement moment. And Black Lives Matter more broadly, but we are living in a massive backlash to the Me Too moment. And I don't feel like there's like, sort of online analysis and literacy about that, but not in a mainstream cultural way, like a very clear understanding of what backlash is and what that looks like. Here's my thing. Want to bet the 50 million the Democratic Party is using to find the next Joe Rogan? Want to bet that goes to Joe Rogan?
Probably.
Yeah. Don't you feel like they're just like, well, okay, we're going to do what we do best. We're just going to own goal it. And let's hope it turns out. And eventually he'll come around. Well, Kamala will do the interview now. Yeah, I don't know how they're doing this. And again, I talked about this with Wajahat Ali the other day on his Substack. But basically, like the idea that you're going to spend all this money to go find somebody is like antithetical to the reason that, whether or not we agree with them or not, why people like folks like Rogan or, Theo Von or whatever. It's like, it feels organic. Whether or not it is, is a different question. But it's like, this is not someone the party line doesn't come down. They can say things like, hey, Gaza seems bad. And, they don't lose their funding over it. Right. But overall, they're still going to show up to like Trump's inauguration. They're still going to kind of like, bro down with the MAGA right.
Yeah. I mean, and that's the thing you always hear about. Like, I don't listen to Joe Rogan just because he doesn't talk enough about video games. But I think like, the thing is when I talk to like other guys who do like him, they'll be like, it's like hanging out with my friends. And I feel like that is the secret sauce to that the Democratic Party, and when I say Democratic Party, I really mean, officials and advisors. I think sometimes there's this weird Jake Tapper thing where any Democratic voter becomes the Democratic Party. And I don't mean Democratic voters who are sometimes just stuck what they got. But it's it's harder to be like, he's just like my friends if the person starts off by being funded by a political party.
Right.
It's hard to be like, oh, it's like hanging out with my buddies. My buddy that has been paid $10 million by Obama. You're like, I don't know.
Yeah.
It feels like, a problem that the Democratic Party, I feel like, keeps hitting is almost, what's the word I'm looking for? This sense of like being
Fakeness?
Real people.
Yeah,
Authenticity.
exactly. Totally. It's totally an authenticity problem. And again, it's an unspoken slap in the face to let's just call it, to the people of color, the queer people, the women who always stand with the Democratic Party, and specifically Black women who overwhelmingly vote Democrat and have not shaken from that. And let's sort of put Kamala Harris's identity aside. They are like, oh, the code for we need our Rogan is we need a straight white guy who is going to just tell it like it is and be offensive. And, you can deal with that. And it's just like, okay, but do you? There's so many of those. Right. Do you really want that? What I was saying is, like, if you really wanted a Joe Rogan of the left, like, you need like a radical Black Marxist, like, queer woman of color or queer woman who's like, abolish all borders. Like, if you really want to fund somebody, you should fund someone like that. Someone who's got like some like out there ideas, but who makes a lot of sense, So, that would be actually finding your version of that. It's just like saying whatever the hell you want, like, yeah, borders suck. Abolish them all. Right. Yeah, I believe in amnesty for 11 million people right now. That kind of stuff. That's what we need.
I absolutely agree. We don't just need like here's a Democrat that also goes to UFC events. Like, it's
exactly.
like we don't need the same exact thing, and it's not going to get his demographic to just jump on board once there's like another guy with muscle saying, be sure to, I don't know, whatever centrists are saying right now.
Yes. Be sure to watch for your wokeness.
Oh my God, yeah.
What's going on, Frantifa? If you haven't already, subscribe to this channel right now. Hit that button. And also, you can become a patron and support the show every single week. Get access to bonus episodes and exclusive merchandise. Patreon.com/bitchuation room. Do